I'm Ellen Carter, 46, principal of Crestwood Elementary in a sleepy rural town. It's a muggy August night, the air heavy, crickets screaming outside. The fluorescent lights flicker in my office as I lock the door, buried in budget reports and schedules. The school's empty, or so I thought, the only sound the AC's weak hum battling the sticky heat. I should have gone home hours ago. A gunshot rips through the silence, sharp as a scream. My heart stops. Another shot, closer, then glass shatters, echoing down the dark halls. Not my school, not here. The PA screeches to life, blaring the lockdown alarm, but I'm already running, my heels loud on the tile. The kindergarten wing, 2 night custodians, maybe a teacher still here. Are they alive? Another shot, so close it shakes my bones. I dive into Miss Alvarez's classroom, locking the door with trembling hands. My phone's dead, no signal, no help. The air smells of crayons and glue, but it's wrong, tainted by something sharp like metal or fear. The tiny desks and colorful posters feel like a trap under the flickering lights. Footsteps, heavy, slow, coming down the hall. They stop at each door, handles rattling one by one. My breath's too loud, my chest tight. I crawl behind a bookshelf, its wood digging into my back. The storm outside growls, thunder rattling the windows, masking the sounds I need to hear. The footsteps stop outside my door. The handle twists, slow, deliberate. I clamp a hand over my mouth, biting my palm to stifle a whimper. The room's too dark, the lights flickering out, leaving only shadows and the storm's faint glow. Bang! The door shakes, wood cracking. Bang! The lock groans, splintering. I grab scissors from an art bin, their blades cold in my sweaty hand. My pulse pounds in my ears, drowning out the thunder. On the third kick, the door explodes inward, slamming against the wall. A figure stands in the doorway, tall, hooded, face hidden in shadow. Something gleams in his hand, catching the lightning's flash. Not a gun, a blade. He steps inside, slow, like he knows I'm here. The floor creaks under his weight. My heart's a hammer, my body frozen. He tilts his head, sniffing the air, like he can smell my fear. The school phone shrieks on Ms. Alvarez's desk, a piercing ring that cuts the silence. He spins toward it, his blade glinting. The PA crackles. "This is the police. The building is surrounded." He hisses, low and guttural, then bolts into the hall, his footsteps fading into the storm's roar. Sirens wail outside, red and blue lights bleeding through the fogged windows. I stay curled behind the bookshelf, scissors clutched tight, shaking until an officer's flashlight finds me. They caught him, a drifter, known to lurk near the school, carrying a knife and a grudge no one understands. The school was empty, the kids safe at home. But that night, in the dark, with the stench of crayons and blood-sharp air, I learned a truth that haunts me. A principal's worst fear isn't failing budgets or test scores. It's the sound of a door breaking and the shadow that steps through. This personal horror story happened to my girlfriend, Ellie. Let's hear the nerve-wracking incident from her own voice. Snow hits the library windows hard, the blizzard covering Lincoln High. I'm Ellie, 19, curled up in a corner, my breath showing in the dim emergency lights. The school's locked down, and the storm outside feels alive, scratching the walls. My phone, almost dead at 3%, buzzes with Mom's text. "Stay safe, love you." Then it goes black. It's 6:47 p.m. when it starts. I'm packing my backpack after debate club when the intercom buzzes. Code red, lockdown, not a drill. My stomach flips. Everyone stops. Chairs squeak, eyes meet. Miss Carter, the librarian, hurries us 6 kids to the back, behind the big books. "Stay down, be quiet," she whispers, her voice calm but her hands shaking as she locks the door. I hug my knees by a shelf. The wind screams, shaking the windows, but the quiet in here is scarier. Sam, my friend next to me, whispers, "What if it's real?" I can't answer. My throat's stuck. There've been whispers for weeks, strange posts online called fake. Now every sound in the old building feels like someone's coming. Hours pass slowly. The cold slips through the walls. The power's out, killed by the storm. The emergency lights make spooky shadows, turning shelves into big shapes. My fingers, super cold, grab my sweater. I think of my little brother, alone at home, and Mom stuck at the hospital. Please be okay. A loud bang comes from the hall. Sam gasps, and I bite my lip to stay quiet. Miss Carter shushes us, her finger to her mouth. My heart's beating so loud I'm scared it'll be heard. Another bang, closer. Footsteps? Or just the storm? I close my eyes, thinking of Mum braiding my hair this morning. Breathe, Ellie. Miss Carter sneaks to the door, looking through the tiny window. She waves for us to stay down. My head's all mixed up. Bad guy? Bomb? Something else? Drills didn't get me ready for this. The cold in my bones, the fear of not knowing if I'll be okay. Finally, the intercom crackles. All clear. Police checked everything. My body loosens, but my legs won't move. Miss Carter breathes out loud. It's over, she says, her voice shaky. We stand wobbly, holding each other. Outside, red and blue lights shine through the snow. Later, they say it was a prank, a fake call from a kid far away. Police found only empty halls and snow against the doors. I step outside, wind stinging my face, and see Mom's car in the lot. I slip on ice, running, and fall into her arms, crying like a baby. That night in bed, I can't sleep. The blizzard keeps going, but the real storm's in my head. The what-ifs, how everything feels so easy to break. My brother's snoring next door. Tomorrow I'll go back to school. Tomorrow I'll try to forget. But tonight, I hold Mom's hand, feeling her warmth, so happy I'm still here. This horrific story happened to my cousin, David, who's doctor. Let's hear the horror event from his own voice. The air smelled like cut grass and summer rain as I zipped up my medical bag. My fingers left streaks of condensation on the leather. The humidity clung to everything tonight. The empty hallway of Jefferson High swallowed the sound of my footsteps, the flickering fluorescent lights casting long shadows that made me walk faster. I was just past the gymnasium doors when I heard it. A scream so raw it raised the hairs on my neck. Then the PA system crackled to life with a sound like breaking bones. Lockdown! This is not a drill. Lockdown! Lockdown! The robotic voice didn't match the adrenaline flooding my veins. I'd run codes in the ER, held pressure on bleeding arteries while shouting orders, but this was different. The school was supposed to be empty, just me, the janitor, and a crash echoed from the west wing. The distinct sound of glass shattering, then a guttural curse. I didn't think, just moved. The nearest classroom door swung open under my trembling hand. I locked it behind me, the click too loud in the sudden silence. My phone screen glared blue in the dark. No service. A shadow passed the narrow window in the door. Not walking, lurching. I tasted copper. I'd bitten my tongue. The fire extinguisher came free from its mount with a metallic shriek. I barely registered the weight in my hands before the doorknob rattled. Oh God. The first impact shook the door in its frame. The second made dust rain from the ceiling. On the third hit, the lock gave with a splintering crack. A man fell through the doorway, one hand clutching his side, the other smearing blood across the tiles as he caught himself. His breath came in wet, ragged gasps. "Help!" he choked out, then collapsed, face first at my feet. My body moved before my brain caught up. Years of training took over. I rolled him, my fingers already probing the wound. Warm blood pulsed between them. "Who did this to you?" His lips moved soundlessly. Then, thud, thud, thud. Footsteps. Deliberate. Close. The man's blood-slick hand seized my wrist. His eyes locked onto mine, wide with a terror I'd only seen in dying patients. I dragged him behind the teacher's desk just as the doorway filled with a new silhouette. Broad shoulders, a baseball bat dangling from one hand, a hunting knife glinting in the other. Little pig, the man sang softly. "Let me come in." The extinguisher was cold in my grip. I stepped into the open before he could look down. "This classroom is occupied," I said, amazed my voice didn't shake. He smiled. It didn't reach his dead fish eyes. "Found you." The bat swung first. I ducked, spraying foam straight into his face. He roared, clawing at his eyes, the knife slashing wild arcs through the air. Then, beautiful, blessed sirens. Close. Too close for him. With a snarl, he vanished into the hallway. I sank to my knees beside the bleeding man. His pulse fluttered like a trapped bird under my fingers. "Listen to me," I said, pressing my sweater to the wound. "Look at me. Stay with me." Red and blue lights strobed through the blinds, shouting voices, radio static. The lockdown was over. But in the flickering dark, with blood pooling around my knees, I knew one thing for certain. Summer nights remember violence longer than people do.